Hello, everybody, and welcome to my podcast. I'm Costa Kalogiros, your host, and this is a bunch of blank paper. And before we start, I want to say some exciting news. I just won an award! Yay! So, my film Marrakech, an experimental film that I did with a friend of mine, Nafsika Stathi, an amazing, beautiful creature and great actress and dancer and everything, an artist. So we did an experimental film in Veria, Greece, northern Greece. I was there for vacation and she came by and I said, I have my camera with me, let's do something. So I gave her one of my poems and she read it and she said, okay, I'm going to be ready tomorrow. And I said, bring some kind of clothes like this. And she came and we just shot it. We had amazing locations. I always say the first thing that you need to be taking care of is location. So we had breathtaking locations. We shot it in a day, and that was about it. In some hour, actually in a few hours we shot it. And that was it. A funny little experimental movie we did. Just got awarded in other movie film festival in Lugano. It got a special mention where it was not supposed to be taking part in the competition. It was just going to be screened there. So I'm really happy and excited about it. And thank you very much for your support and love throughout the years. You can check my website for a lot of things that are happening there and latest movies and workshops that I'm running and anything you want from script revision or whatever. You can just, drop me a message, even either on email or my Instagram account. So let's get together and be creative about it, huh? Okay, so in today's episode, I want to talk about the now. Very simple, the time that we're living now, and how this now is important when you're writing something. Even if you're thinking that you're writing a historical event, or if you're writing something that refers to the past, it's always about now, and it has to be always about now. I'm going to talk about two different things. I'm going to talk about a TV series and a movie. Why they're different. They're very different because, of course, the format that they are being delivered, you see something on the TV and you see something on the big screen. That's two different things. But that's not the main difference they have. The main difference they have is that when you go into the movies, you're spending some time to get to the movies, to get some tickets to go there, bring your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever, you go in, you're having a good time. So actually you spend already a lot of time going there and preparing to go there. So when you go into the movies, let's say that the audience in the movies is a little bit more gentle and flexible about their time because they're getting there. And they will give you some time as a writer to develop something, okay? It's not going to be a lot of time, okay? It's going to be like 20 minutes max to develop something, to get the hook going on there. But on the TV, it's a completely different thing because they have a remote control in their hands and, you have to bring all your big weapons in the beginning of the script. So that's the main difference because the power of the remote control is huge and nobody can do anything about it. So if you're writing bullshit for the first 5-10 minutes, the hook is not going to be there, so nobody's going to see the thing that you're writing about. So, and this brings me to this example that I said about a mini-series that I saw when it came out, and I was shocked. It's one of the biggest shocks I've ever had as an audience. It was a huge, creepy thing. We will talk more in more analysis and more depth about Chernobyl in a bit. But what's really important in Chernobyl is that you get everything there in the beginning, starting scene 1. You get all the hook you need there. So why is this mini-series and Joker also relevant to now? And why is this story written about now? But it's not only about now, it's forever. Because when you have the social classes will be there forever. I mean, as long as we have organized societies, there are going to be classes, and not to mention money, of course. Okay, so the fight of the classes, the fight of the social classes, is going to be always there, and it's a theme that anybody can write at any time, any given time, about this and be relevant to now. But more specifically, the very, very interesting thing about Chernobyl, for example, is that it was written for an event that happened in 1986, but it's relevant to now. But what I think is that the writer wrote it exclusively for now. And I will explain more later, but yeah, why don't we just dive in with an audio sample of the first scene of Chernobyl, and I will get back to you with the analysis of what I'm saying now. So let's hear it.
But instead, 10 years for criminal mismanagement. What does that mean? No one knows. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that to them, justice was done. Because you see, to them, a just world is a sane world. There was nothing sane about Chernobyl. What happened there, what happened after, even the good we did, all of it. All of it. Madness. Well, I've given you everything I know. Don't deny it, of course. They always do. I know you'll try your best.
All right. So after listening to this clip again, let's start analyzing what's going on in there. So what is important there? What is the real question? What's the question behind all this thing? What is the leading character questioning there? Is that question for Chernobyl? Nope. Is that question a general question that affects and has a big reflect also in 2020? Yes, definitely. So all the questions you hear in the clip that we just heard, they are referring to now. You know, these events happened then, but all these questions are about now. What is the cost of lies? Then, now, and always it will be the same question. What is the cost of lies? So, before we get into that, I mean, you know how the politics are playing, all these games they're playing, and they're saying all these lies. They have a huge ego about them, you know, Donald Trump, you know, not to mention a lot more, but I'm saying Donald Trump because I talked about the ego. All these things that they are hiding from us, so this is the social class fight. They is them, you know, it's us and them, as Pink Floyd said to the song. Us and them. They were referring to aliens, but I'm gonna be referring to us and them as the ruling class that is ruling this planet. So in this time of chaos, that's why Joker also had this universal question, forever question. What is the cost of lies? Why is everybody lying about, for example, a virus? Why is everybody lying about the oil thing that you're doing? Why is everybody lying about the global warming, which is a more general problem and a general question that everybody was laughing at people that they were pointing at this problem some years ago, including myself and a lot of people that we were just screaming that, guys, come on, we're gonna be fucking vanish from this planet because we deserve it. And as George Carlin was saying, we are a biological mistake and we are a failed mutation. And just one day, the Earth, will start farting and we're going to be dying. So this is what's happening now. But I don't want to go far with that. But you understand what I'm saying? It's us and them. They're always hiding stuff. If you see the main media, the major media, they're always saying whatever the line of the government is, or even above the government is. So this especially, because I'm from Greece, this especially here is amazing how this happens. Huh? We are like, I think, the worst fake news country in Europe. I think I'm for sure. So this is what they're doing. They're diminishing the education. They're breeding stupid, confident people. Same thing happens in Greece. Same thing happens everywhere. So now, what is the cost of lies? That is the question that you need to be answering throughout the whole series. That needs to be answered. And it's not about the cost of lies of that specific time. It's about now. What is the cost of lies now? Why are they hiding so many stuff, and why are they using them to tell us all these bullshit lies that they're doing it? So, as a writer, you need to always be relevant to what you feel, what you want to say, and why do you want to say it now? Why do you want to say it today? So, why are you telling this story? And then you have to go and advance more and say, why are you telling this story this year? Why are you telling this story today? Why are you doing this? And when you're writing about historical events, it's the same thing. You have to deal the historical events somehow relevant to now, because nobody cares about the fucking history. I mean, I don't care personally. Okay, maybe some of you do, but I don't fucking care. I know the events; they're history. I only care about my now, my present, and my future. Not even my future, my present. So, history is history. It's there. It's done that. Been there. Okay, we can read about it. That's it. But why write something about history, about a historical event that's not relevant to now? Chernobyl is a story about lies. And you hear that in the first line of the film, miniseries, of the series. They are telling this story of Chernobyl in a way that is completely disastrous and horror, and you get so many thrills about it, and you get so scared about it. And the way they're telling the story in 6 episodes, it's a way that actually matters and has a huge meaning to us now. It's all these lies that they bring us to the brink of extinction. The power of lies, how strong they are, they brought us to a point, to some events, that they seem to be irreversible. And this happens also, in global warming, it's the same thing. The things are irreversible. So what are all these invisible lies that everybody's saying, the politics are saying, that they're making this thing irreversible? So it's sad because, it's events that are happening all the time on this planet because of ego and everything, and the games of power. And we, of course, are the victims of that, like the us and them. But, it's like you cannot do anything about it, just write about it and make a movie about it. That's why Joker was so dangerous for them. It was so dangerous for them, so they had to ban it in many countries, and they had also to, have a R rating like 18 years old. In Greece, it was 18 years old and up, because if you really look closer to Joker, it's a story about now, and all this thing that is happening now on the planet. You might see a movie that you think it's about the events that took place in Gotham City and about Arthur, but in the end of the day, why are they banning this movie from everywhere? Because you see the Joker killing a TV presenter on the spot. And this is a host on the spot, TV host on the spot. And this is something that many people would like to do in many countries because of the lies they're saying to people, and they're deceiving people, and they're using their power against the people. So of course, it's a story about now. And Joker came out when the Yellow Vests were in France doing everything they were doing in their power to show the power of the people. And all the planet is boiling from all these things. Wars are happening, riots are happening, and then a virus came up, and it's so fucked up. So this story was about now. Joker was about now. Chernobyl was about now. What is the most frightening thing about, for example, Chernobyl? For me, it's the power of the unknown. It's the power of something that I cannot actually see, but it can destroy me now. It's like a virus. I cannot see the virus. I cannot see COVID-19, but it can kill me now. It can kill humanity now, for example, if it gets to bigger expanse, because we don't know what it is and we don't know how it's happening, and we don't know if there's going to be any vaccine for the next 4 years and all these things. You know, it might be the virus that actually kills everybody and we're done. Again, thank you very much for everything, and yeah, welcome and blah, blah, blah. So it's something that is happening. Global warming is happening. COVID-19 is happening. We don't see them, but we know about them. We have an idea about them. We don't know more about them. And they're not using these specific phrases or anything in the movie or the miniseries about, you know, global warming or social classes or whatever, but it's there. It's built around this concept of the social fights and the lies and all this thing. It's all built around this idea, and they are not using these words, but subconsciously you are connected to these things because they are connecting to you to the primal level of connection when it comes to justice. When you have the word justice, which is really strong and there from the first moment that you are born, then you're connected to this fight for justice. And it's the same thing in Joker, it's the same thing in Chernobyl. So, what is the cost of lies, okay? Is it the human nature that brought all these things, all the catastrophe, and brought the world into extinction, into the verge of extinction? Yes, it's human nature. What else is it? What else they're saying there? It's politics. Same thing in the Joker. Who had the power? Who had the power? Mr. Wayne had the power. Politics, the human nature, bringing us to the verge of extinction and having us fighting over each other, because this is what they're doing, the social classes, you know, it's like there's no middle class actually, but the middle class, if it was existing, because now it's not there anymore, it would be fighting the lower class so that the higher class would gain everything. Same story in Chernobyl, same story in the Joker. So, I mean, when Chernobyl was happening, I was 8 years old. I mean, I don't remember the same events. I remember the TV, on the TV when they were saying in the news, you know, you cannot eat vegetables and stuff like that. I remember in Greece, that was the thing. But I remember it was something that it was like, Chernobyl was like Challenger, the spaceship, the space bus that was destroyed. It was like a big event, a huge event that actually was scaring the shit out of me because I was so young also. And it would scare the shit out of me now. I mean, when I saw the Twin Towers going down, it was the same thing. I was older and it scared the shit out of me at that moment because it was a scary image to see. Of course, we know that who did it, but yeah, as an image, it was really scary. So, Chernobyl it's a movie about disaster. It's a movie. It's like a thriller, like a horror, like something bad. And it's referencing some things from the beginning. When you see, for example, the guy that was working in the reactor, the camera actually doesn't show us what's going on in the reactor, but we can see from their faces that there's something horrible going on there. We cannot see it. It's like the lies they're saying to us. We cannot see them. It's really, really terrible what's happening there. And all all these issues, all these lies, all the government is doing, everything that they're doing is only to gain money. So it's so dangerous what they're doing, and we cannot see it. We cannot see the whole thing. Some people write about it. Some people make up stories about it, like thinking how it is and how they're working, below the table, exchanging the money, exchanging everything, It's perfectly said in the beginning of Chernobyl, it's the lies. And if somebody lies to you, you're gonna be really mad about it, sad about it or whatever. But if they're lying to you about things like that are huge, nobody told you in a huge campaign, not nobody, some people tried, that global warming is gonna be actually fucking everything up in the following 20 years. Nobody said that 20 years ago. Nobody said that 10 years ago. They were saying it, but all the big corporations and the media, they didn't care about this shit. They just care about making your world smaller in a bigger way. So actually your small world is expanding now, and you want to be in your living room, especially with this virus now, and you cannot go out anymore without a mask, and you cannot have fun anymore, and blah, 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 blah. Nobody actually is telling you anything. They know what's happening. They know what's going to happen. They are the ones that know the truth to what's happening now. Maybe we're all sick and we're all going to die soon. Nobody knows that. Only they know it, because, it's inconvenient for them. And there are just a few politicians in the history of humanity that they just really confronted everything, and they really said, okay, what the fuck are we doing? And what a coincidence, these people are dead. They just killed them, they murdered them, okay? Just think about Martin Luther King, John Lennon, who was saying about a change, Kennedy, all these people, they're killing them because it's all about the lies, and nobody wants to face the truth. And when it's, nobody wants to face, like Trump, for example, he has so big ego that he doesn't want to be, facing what's going on and what's the truth. So, now about the writing of the Chernobyl and the writing of Joker. Could Joker be a series? Yes, it could be. 100% it could be. Because it had a huge scope. It has an epic, gigantic scope. So they decided to make a film about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a series. Because it has the material to be a series. So they decided to make a movie about it. Chernobyl, on the other hand, could be a film. Yes, it could be a film, of course. But when you're writing something about the TV or a movie, you have to decide beforehand what's the scope you have and what's actually the size of this thing. You can do a film like Bellatar, like 8 hours long, but this doesn't sell, let's say. Well, of course, as I said again, it's not the first thing you're doing when you're writing. You're not thinking about how you're going to sell it. But it's another thing, writing 800 pages long movie than writing 100 pages long episode for a series. Let's say 60 to 75. I think that the main reason why they made Chernobyl is they made it as a TV series and not a movie, is that the story could be told simply as a miniseries, and it was bigger than a feature film. I said in the beginning of the episode, when you're writing a TV show, when you're writing for a TV show or a TV series or whatever, you bring all your weapons in the beginning. So you don't save the best for last, you save the best for the beginning. Save the best for first. It's not that you have so many pages to develop the whole thing. It must be like a kick on the teeth from the very first seconds of your TV show. It must be a kick on the teeth. It's not like a movie. I told you, there are many movies that nothing is happening for the first 20 minutes, 25, and then they break and it's something crazy. But I told you, the time that the audience has passed in order to come to the cinema gives flexibility to what you can do in terms of time and how you can hook them a little bit later. But in the TV, you just change the channel and fuck that, and I'm not going to see it. Miniseries is not so easy. I told you. I think for me, in my personal opinion, it's the worst. I'm saying again, the worst. It's not the worst, but it's the most hard thing to write. And if you're thinking a little bit afterwards when you finish it and you want to sell it, again, it's a very difficult thing to sell. You know, it could be a big movie, like I told you, Bellatar, David Lynch does that. But when you're writing when you're writing 5-6 episodes or something, yeah, it's really hard to sell it. Mainly because there's, you see HBO making some miniseries, Netflix not so much. You see all the major networks that are not focusing on miniseries; they're just doing series. They're talking mainly about TV shows that they have a continuance, that they're gonna be next season and next season, keeping the audience there, and not about the short term, like 6 episodes, for example. But Chernobyl was a huge exception. It was an amazing fucking series. Like True Detective also was like that. And then they decided to make more seasons and it was shit. So you see how this can go really wrong, right? The storyline in Chernobyl, also in the Joker, you understand that sometime in the series or the movie, something is gonna go really bad. Every episode you see in Chernobyl, every scene you see in the Joker builds the tension that something is going to happen. So what is important is the journey. And we said that if you don't go on a journey yourself, then the audience will not go also. So you have to take the journey first. And your characters are taking the journey through you. So if they change throughout the journey, slowly towards a point, and they change all the time, and they change, and they change, and they're interesting, this keeps the audience hooked, and this gives your to your project life and a bigger scope than the one that you were thinking about. So if you keep your characters still, nothing is going to happen. If they move, if they have motion inside them, and they're moving, and the whole things that they're doing are moving, and they drive the story forward through the journey that they're doing, through the huge change that they're experiencing, then we have definitely a great material to work with. It's huge how the first episode impacts the audience and of course your characters and the movement. So we know, for example, that in Chernobyl we have 2 leading characters. Chernobyl for me is really genius in the way that is written. They decided to put all the huge facts that they were happening there in the front in the beginning, like the disaster thing, Chernobyl, burning people, the reactor, the scary shit that was going on, all the political ideas that were behind it, and and they decided to put the leading character, in the end of the pilot, which is completely, totally reversal of what would you normally do. But this actually confirms my idea of this, that what you need to do in the TV show or a mini-series is to put action from second one. So first second you start kicking in, putting all your weapons there. So the writer find it that it was really important to show the events that were happening in Chernobyl and the horror behind it without actually showing the reactor and the whole thing in the beginning, keeping everyone interested until the end of the episode, because they hooked you from the beginning and they kept you interesting there. And they said, okay, I have the biggest weapon that I have, except the events, is my leading character. I will put him in the end so I can start the story from there. We've seen, of course, the leading character in the beginning. Legasov, we saw it in the beginning. It was page 1 or page 2. We saw page 1 and 2. We saw Legasov, of course. So he was not there from the beginning. He could be there, but he wasn't. So they made a connection with Legasov in the end of the pilot. Okay, so he commits suicide in the beginning. Okay, and there you have the questions. Everybody's questioning. I mean, this is what I did when I saw that. I said, okay, I knew it was about Chernobyl, and I said, okay, why would he commit suicide? Probably he did something shit, and he has, something to do with that. Which is, in a way, it's true, but it's not totally correct. So what you need to get from that is that you have 45 minutes of shit and disaster and chaos and everything going down. We don't see him again. And then we see him in the end. So that's genius. And what's more scary about it is that they are referring to the numbers 3 and 6 in the end. And we see through his eyes that 3.6 is like, it's really a lot worse than what you think. And they're trying to play down the whole event. So this makes it actually more scary. Okay? So Legasov, from the beginning, he's a very honest scientist, okay? And he's what the political system doesn't want. The thing that I told you again in the beginning. The political system doesn't want people to be confronted with the lies that they say. So Legasov is honest. He has the truth, and he believes that, he believes that this is the truth. I know that this is happening, and I know that this is the truth, that I have an ethical responsibility to bring this to life and bring this to the surface so that people know about it, okay? And then, on the other hand, we have Serbina, who is actually the main pawn of the politic system, and he's committed to Gorbachev, and he's of course all about Mother Russia. So he's a totally different thing as a character from Legasov. So they start from a totally different opposite side, and throughout the whole journey of these two characters, they are connected to a point, and they are going together to break this curse and break those lies, and they are moving towards the truth. But it's amazing how these two characters, they start completely opposite from each other, and that's something that you see in many good scripts. For example, in Seven, you see that when you have two opposite sides, one of them doesn't believe that he has to fight about this world, and the other one believes that, yeah, it's really worth fighting and we are the good guys. And then in the end, we have a totally different resolution. Same thing happens now. So they are completely moving from other sides, and they are enemies in the beginning, and then they become friends. And then they hear these stupid things, and they have to, follow the government in everything they do, and continue saying lies to people, and continue putting the humanity in danger, blah, blah, blah. So then they both change in how they react to this thing, and it's a continuous change. In every episode, you see them changing. And we have also great subplots there. We have Ludmila, we have the soldiers, we have what a fucking scene with the soldiers killing the dogs, and also what a fucking scene with the coal miners. Amazing. You see, it's so many layers of structure there built in that brings this miniseries to an epic scope. So it has a huge scope, and this is a story about now, like Joker is a story about now, and it's gonna be always relevant. Now, there's another aspect in how they're dealing about this in Chernobyl, for example. There was failure. And, failure to confront the lies. And this actually was threatening us. I told you, it brought us to the verge of extinction. And Serbina didn't want to, admit all these things, and he was failing on purpose to confront them. So that's why it's so important to understand that whenever you have this scope, whenever you have the dramatic, the disaster, the everything that was happening in historical events, it's really important that you need to know that everything is connected to the now. So everyone cares to listen to this story, not necessarily the way it happened and why it happened, but why is it relevant to now? That's the important thing. Okay, that was it for today. Thank you very much for being with me and bearing with me. I hope you enjoyed the show. Just, feel free to visit my website, www.costakalogiros.com, and also feel free to add me on Instagram, same thing, Costa Kalogiros, and drop me a message, whatever you want. Check my website for workshops that are running and movies. And thank you very much for everything. Have a great, great, great day.